I can become someone that no one thinks I can be. And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
They don't know me, son.
Get it. 18.
They don't know me, son.
Get it. 19.
They don't know me, son. Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? Who's
One more.
gonna carry the boats? Who's gonna carry the fucking boats?
I want you to think about me, knowing that I'm comfortable, being very unfucking comfortable.
Who's gonna carry the fucking boats?
It comes from a disgusting place of afraid of dying, having never accomplished anything.
We have a very special guest. He is a police officer of 19 years, worked in Pontoon Beach and Montgomery Sheriff's Office, and is currently working at Sauget Police Department. He started 2013 ILEAS Region 8 SWAT Team, TL, and current ATL. He specializes in CBERN incidents. He's a detective with the Major Case Squad of Greater St. Louis. He's a FBI Basic Sniper School recipient of the Medal of Valor and various life-saving medals. He also is a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training for 8 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a brother of mine, Aaron Morgan. All right. Well, I guess basically started off like basic, kind of what I was saying. I mean, let's hear about like your beginning, your childhood, coming up, and get into like how you got inspired to become in law enforcement and what led you to where you are today in life.
Law enforcement, I guess. I don't know. I was always doing like seasonal jobs, I guess. You know what I mean? I worked at
You worked at a steel mill?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. Well, I worked for Stein, Steel Mill Services.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, them guys were assholes.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted a job. And in that industry, you're always getting laid off.
Okay.
And I don't know. I essentially wanted a job where you can make a lot of money and never get laid off,
Yeah.
And law enforcement's good to me. It's like the coolest shit. You get to do some cool, you know what I mean? Like being on the SWAT team, man, we get to, just last week, for instance, because we do some explosive breaching, so we're getting to blow up doors and shit, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Guarantee it.
Right? That's cool shit.
It's probably it's such an adrenaline rush just going into places. It was like I was telling you, like, whenever I was stealing people's shit, it was adrenaline rush for me to go into people's houses, because I don't know what I will find, but it was a high to me to do that. It's obviously different situation, but yeah, I mean, the adrenaline, I can't even imagine because I mean, somebody might have guns, or anything.
Right. Tactics changed, right? So old school SWAT, we're doing dynamic entries. That means hard and fast, hitting the doors and rushing in. You know what I mean? But a lot of guys were killed. Right? So now we do a lot of like surrounding stuff, protect us from getting.
Even with like the shields and everything, I mean, are those actually bulletproof?
They are, but just for pistol rounds.
Yeah.
Now we have shields that are rifle rated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're heavy.
Yeah. We were talking about my one buddy, Paul, that was on here. We were talking about, I went to high school with this fella, and his dad went into a standoff with Belleville PD, and you probably know the officer. I don't know what his name is, but he shot the officer in the face and blew his fucking face out. The guy
with the shotgun?
Yes.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
But that was a shield failure.
Is that what that was?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know they were breaching into the door, and he blew his face off.
Yeah, when the guys came in, he was standing, I guess, on the...
Yeah, I don't know the whole story.
One side or the other of the door, I don't really remember. But, yeah, and they shot him.
Yeah, and he lived. He's like,
blind,
he's like a poster person for, I think essentially for that.
Yeah, but he's blind now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
His face is completely mangled.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'm pretty sure that was a shield failure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So they're only really 4 gun rounds then. The
Yeah,
shields.
pistols and stuff.
No
Now
doubt.
they'll take some pistol rounds.
Now, do they got the electricity and shit in them too?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're talking about like the concave ones they use in like institutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
But I figured you guys still used them. They still probably had that same setup on there too, though.
No,
I
they
mean,
don't.
I
They don't.
gotcha.
They have some of them have lights on them and stuff,
Yeah.
but we don't have. They're not electrified or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Now, are you doing it? You guys tossing in what's them canister rounds, flashbangs?
Yeah, we don't toss them anymore though because there've been so many people getting mangled.
Oh,
Yeah,
now that's what I was curious. Like, you're still getting shrapnel from shooting the things and when they explode. They still create shrapnel,
No,
don't they? They
no.
don't.
it's just so they're ported, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's not a grenade,
Yeah.
right? They're ported on the end, so the sound and the percussion comes out of the ports on the top and the
Oh,
bottom,
really?
right?
Okay. See, I always thought that they blew up, and I was like, "There's no way that they can't create shrapnel if they blow up because it's like a canister, But,
It's just like
okay. So because it's such a small hole, that's what makes the loud noise, I guess. Whenever
yeah,
it
some
blows
of them are made differently,
Uh-huh.
like different, and you have different decibels,
Okay.
right? Which actually cause disorientation. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because when we were going through SWAT school, they had us stand in a room. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys want to get flashbang? Like, fuck yeah, let's do this, right? So we were stood in a room and they threw one in there. It's
Yeah.
pretty weird.
Well, I think because I was listening to Sean Ryan and them guys, and some of them guys have gotten special force guys breaching have actually gotten brain issues. They claim that from the breaching doors and the flashbangs, the explosion.
I would imagine
You know?
the ones the military uses are
Right.
higher decibels.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because there used to be a company, Def Tech, and theirs were like super loud.
Oh, so they make them even. I got you.
Right. And we would actually use those because the Def Tech ones would have just a port on the bottom,
Mhm.
and we would use those to break windows and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, you put them on a bang pole and you put the flashbang against the
Mm.
window and pull it and break the windows.
No doubt.
Yeah. So now we use a lot of bang poles and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not, because the old school train thought you toss them in. You know what I
Right.
mean? But they cause fires too, right? If they
Really?
land on carpet or if they land on a couch,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
So
Because now, what do they initially spark out like a sparkler first? Like spray a flame out, or
do what? They were using gas. They were pumping gas canisters in,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Well, so those gas canisters, man, those things get super hot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you get, like the outside is like
Yeah.
aluminum or whatever, so you
Yeah.
can't pick them up and burn the shit out.
But
of
with the
your
flashbangs, you're saying that they actually produce like a flame style deal coming.
hand. That flash,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah,
So there's a lot of heat coming off that.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they've had guys like blow their fingers off and stuff with,
Oh, I believe that.
right? Because when you pull the pin,
Yeah.
they tell it's called milking the spoon. You're not supposed to try to put the key back into it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the fuckers will go off. If you pull the pin and we don't use it, it's bang out. We go somewhere in the yard and toss it and let it go off.
How long? So I'm guessing it's probably essentially about as long as a grenade. Then, but if you hold the pin in, it won't go off.
Yeah, if you hold
right?
the spoon,
Yeah.
it won't go off. Because once the spoon flips off, then it ignites that primer inside,
I got you.
right? And then it burns through and sets off the charge in it,
No doubt.
right?
Have you ever had any malfunctions where they go off way quicker?
Not usually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we're not counting the seconds, obviously. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's a second or two.
Yeah.
They're pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people don't have really time to react. But we use them to keep people out of certain rooms, if that makes any sense. To
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't want flushing shit down the toilet.
well, that
and
or getting
everything else.
guns. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If we know, like, okay, they're in this room or that room, or to keep them out of a room. You know what I mean?
I never even thought about the strategic way of using them. I just thought, you just want to disorient people, but that's a good point because I never thought about, you're strategically placing them into this room for that action. You know what I mean?
Well, because if we know where you are,
Yeah.
right, it's easier for us to get you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's safer for us.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we go, okay, you're in the living room.
Yeah.
Right. So we keep you keep you where we want you so we can get you.
I bet it's probably kind of entertaining though, whenever them things hit and you see and how discombobulated probably, because sometimes I'm sure that whenever you go to do this, people really don't even have no clue what's about to happen. And then, Do you ever have you ever like seen it and transpire, directly, like when it goes off and the people in the house, like,
Well, I mean, can you imagine like your doors getting kicked in and then there's a boom, there's a big explosion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
But I'm saying the flashbang would be even worse because you like, what the just happened?
right.
You know what I mean?
Completely,
And your ears are probably ringing, everything,
completely disorienting for
Yeah.
sure. It's,
Whereas, you guys kicking the door, I mean, obviously, it's, somebody coming in the door, but this probably simultaneously, you guys are going in the door at the same time, right? Or essentially right after.
yeah, once you deploy it, boom,
Yeah.
then we're going in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like take Seattle SWAT.
Yeah.
They explosive breach everything.
Really?
Everything. Which you would think they wouldn't do that because they're so liberal up there.
Right.
But they blow everything.
No doubt.
Yeah, because they say it's how did they phrase
It's probably
it?
safer, like you said.
It is safer. Because if you hit a door and then somebody's right there,
Mhm.
with a knife or whatever, now you have to engage them. I have that kind of a reactionary gap.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're blowing open doors, you know what I mean?
Guys got a dime bag of weed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I wonder how many they go through, probably, because essentially they're on the Canadian border too. So they probably get a lot of drug flow in that area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would imagine.
Because I mean, Washington, Seattle area, I think is probably a high area of drug flow.
Well, yeah, there's a
And
lot.
it's right by Oregon,
Sure.
other than weed, I'm saying like actually probably a lot of harder drugs are in that area, so damn. Now, so you guys, have you ever, you guys got the SWAT vehicle where you put the arm on it and then
Yeah.
you
So
run it
it's
through?
called we call it a rhino.
Oh.
Rhino.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then that just takes like, I'm saying that, so instead of using when would you guys use something like that? Obviously, if you thought there was way more guns or way more people in the place, or
yeah, so it depends on the situation, right? So if you're doing a hit on a house for guns,
Yeah.
Obviously you don't want to go up to the door and hit it with a ram, right?
Yeah.
So we'll push it in. Or for breaching like steel doors, like on commercial buildings, because
you're not gonna be able to get through it.
well, you can, but the time standing up there in the threshold is just you're exposed.
Yeah.
So you can just push those doors right in.
Yeah, I seen some videos where the cops are they're like they're sitting there for like 10
That's
hits.
exhausting.
And like we were saying, like flushing the drugs, all kinds of stuff that you guarantee is going down, because even like when I remember in prison, whenever they would come in, they'd rush in, and what they do is they shut off all the water. You know what I mean?
Right.
That way people can't flush shit, or else you'll start hearing like flushes. But then at the same time, they have traps in between the cells to catch shit,
Right.
A lot of people I don't think they really know that. In them little rooms, there's traps in there. They have traps that catch shit, but that's the same deal, but it wouldn't use flashbangs or anything unless it was on there's a riot or some shit. But
Well, I mean, and we're there to apprehend people.
Sure.
The evidence is for the detectives that come in after the fact, so we're
gotcha,
not really
yeah.
concerned about that.
Yeah.
Obviously if they have search warrants, we're going to detain whoever's there.
yeah.
And because we don't touch shit. We're just there for the people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're not looking for anything. We're just there to get whoever's in the house, put them in cuffs and wait for the detectives to show up and do their thing,
It's probably where you're at now compared to Montgomery County. Ain't that up by like Litchfield?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you probably dealt with a lot of meth up there,
Yes.
because when I was in prison, everybody from Litchfield was cooking meth. Me and this guy would talk about it because hey, they get so high off of talking about cooking meth. They get higher, and they'll argue. They'll argue about who cooks the best meth, and yeah,
Right. Because those anhydrous sinks, the farmers just leave them out in the field.
right.
So those
right.
guys would go out there,
Yeah.
put the shit in coolers or whatever.
There was a guy in
Dude.
Shawnee with me, and I can't remember his name, but he burnt over 90% of his fucking body bad. Oh, his skin looked like Freddy Krueger. Hey, they had skin grafts and shit. Hey, and he still got 20 years, you know what I mean? And he got busted. He was cooking meth.
Dude, that shit'll fuck you up.
Oh,
Did it
my
blow
God.
up, I guess?
I have no idea. It fucking burnt. Dude, it burnt.
Dude, there's a video and they put like 4 or 5 drops on a roast and it cooks the whole.
Really? So what is it? Is it like, it's not like an acid, is it?
No,
I
it's-
know it's a gas, but I never understood how they do it, because I've heard motherfuckers say that they put it in bag, like certain bags they could put it in, or they always talk about the like the barbecue grill
the
propane
propane.
tanks. You know what I mean? Yeah, fire extinguishers and just different containers, and I never understood it. Because I obviously I didn't get into that look at meth or anything, but I know whenever I was going to prison, that was become like a huge thing.
Oh, dude, it
In
was
the 2000s,
Oh
early
my God.
2000s.
Yeah.
It's just. But I remember I just know Montgomery County because a lot of them guys would come from there. You know what I mean? So
Well, any of the large rural areas,
Yeah.
where there's not much population, but there's a lot of farmland,
yeah,
because they could hide out and cook, whatever.
Yeah.
I've had a couple cases, we got people with like 1,500 buttons,
Yeah.
and they're not getting as much time as you would think. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I could see that with everything that's transpired, and not being on a political deal, but like just with the defund the cops and all the other shit, I look, we were talking about it earlier with the whole pedophilia shit. I've seen it in person. I know that these guys don't get no time. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
none. It's crazy.
And it's fucking sickening.
Yeah,
You know?
it's ridiculous. Really, that should be like up there with murder.
Yeah. What they did was they started and so they have in Ina, Illinois, they have Big Muddy. And so that's where they try to send majority is it all the prisons now in Illinois, they have exactly, that's what I told them, but Big Muddy is where they started civilly committing them is what they call it.
Mhm.
So they hold them for, X period of time. Because we would always fuck with people because some people still get sent there that ain't sex offenders,
Right.
So, but as soon as you come from there, hey, motherfuckers are like, man, this dude's a sex offender.
Right.
You know what I
You're
mean? They
labeled.
automatically think it. Or like I wasn't at Graham, but Australia and other places, they had a whole house where they just had pedophiles, and then they usually put the gays with the pedophiles, because motherfuckers are, they'd be super gangsters, a part of these, gangs, but you see them with the fag going in and out of the room all the time. And, it's, you can get is some weird shit, but either way, hey, you piss off the wrong officer and hey, you get shipped over on this fucking unit. You come through the chow hall, motherfuckers be like, I didn't know Mike was on that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I ain't talking to him anymore. And you can't, you know what I mean?
Right.
You look like a pedophile because everybody knows that's the pedophile unit, And like I told you earlier, like if you put your fucking hands on these people, they will fucking, yes. Yeah, they'll charge you with a new case. You know what I mean? It's same with like the gays. You know what I mean? Like if motherfucker, same shit. It's just it's crazy to me. But I figured with the fentanyl that they would really be
And depending on, where you got caught cooking, whatever,
Yeah.
that's class X.
right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's like
Yes.
top tier felonies.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and then so I guarantee compared to like Sauget now. I mean, I guess you get. Are you just Sauget or are you in Cahokia Heights?
No,
the whole
we're-
area.
yeah.
You get all the fun action. I was just telling a story on the last podcast. I was all pussy whipped over this girl, and they called me down to the Oz. Right, I go down there, and then they just like put me on the back burner. I'm in the. This is before the Oz filled up,
Right.
And so I don't got a driver's license at the time. I got a DUI and I lost my driver's license, and I had expired tags. I had this Tahoe. I had fucking 22s on it. It was all blacked out and shit. And anyhow, I go down there to meet them, and then I start getting pissed off because they're like hanging out with these other dudes and shit, and I'm just like a fucking third wheel, and I start getting hammered. You know what I mean? I'm fucking drinking and shit. Next thing I know, I get fucking pissed. And I fucking get pissed. I fucking chuck my drink. Hey, the fucking bouncers. I remember seeing the bouncers come running after me. I go running for the door, and I fucking come out that front door, and I face plant. Boom! My fucking foot hits the parking fucking block. I face plant, and all I hear is people like, just fucking laughing and shit. Hey, they fucking grab me up, throw me up against the wall. Hey, there's like fucking 70 people lined up coming in, just fucking cracking on me. And then I believe it was the chief of police at that time frame, and he's gone. I met him years later, but they show up and they got me up against the fucking wall right there, and people are going inside the house, and he's like fucking whispers in my ear. He's like, "Suggest you get fucking vehicle. Better not see you. I fucking got out of there. You know what I
Gone.
mean? Hey, one thing I've always said about Sajay that, hey, look, because a lot of people will be like, oh, Sajay, you know, they'll beat your ass. Hey, look, I would rather take an ass whooping or get roughed up, you know what I mean, than to ever go to jail. And I'm not saying that's what happens down there. I'm just saying that's what a lot of people claim happen, you know what I mean? You know, so, and I definitely could look, you, especially with pops and shit there. I mean, it's, you know, you got so many melting pot at the end of the night, you know, I mean.
Well, because the Oz closes at 5.
Yeah.
Right. So then everybody from the Oz goes over to Pops.
Get all stripped. I mean, you know, look, I used to go to the Pops every weekend, you know, and I've hung out down there. I've spent many nights until fucking they closed and went home from there, you know. I used to love going down there, but you know, it's not a good place to be. I mean, you can find some trouble really quick. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you can possibly get killed down there really quick too, you know, by the right people.
Right.
You know, because I also used to run around in Cahokia and shit. You know, I know people in Cahokia, you know, I grew up in Belleville, you know, but I'm not saying I know people that are killers, but I'm sure that there are plenty of them down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you go down there and start some shit with somebody.
Yeah,
they'll shoot you quick.
It'll be real easy to get killed in that parking lot, and you know who knows what the fuck happened. You know, because I mean, there's so many cars. You know, I know they got their people that like go back and forth and all that shit.
Security,
yeah. I mean, them guys. I mean, you can see them got the little light and shit.
I mean, we're down there. You know, I can't speak to before, but I know now. I mean, we're down there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are always
there's you know at least 4 cops down there.
Right. Yeah.
Every night,
I mean, there ain't really much but the chemical plants and you know them few things down there. The
there's a lot of industry. I mean, the you know industry and meaning like the chemical plants and stuff like that. But yeah, really there's only like 150 people actually live in Sauget. Yeah. You know what I mean? So 100% of our call volume comes from the club.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Subject removal is the major one, you know, which is crazy to me because, you know, these people get kicked out.
Yeah.
Right. By security for whatever reason, you know, usually they're fighting or something like that. They just don't want to leave.
Right.
They're like, I'm like, let's go home.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, you're going to go to jail. Like,
yes.
Well, fuck it. Okay.
Yeah. I was going in there all the time. So I got really cool. Like, I'm like a very tolerant person, you know what I mean? And I pride myself in whenever I do drink that I stay pretty focused and I pay attention to everything. It probably comes with the fact that I've been to prison and all that shit, but I'm always paying attention. But I also am a firm believer, especially down there, like I carry myself a different way. Like, look, you know, hey, I'm not letting, there's a lot of predators in that place. You know what I mean? And so you could either be a prey and you will get preyed on because there's individuals in there that will prey on you. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
You know, whether it's fucking shouldering the fuck out of you or fucking, you know, groups of, you know, just try to treat you. You know what I mean? So I pride myself whenever I go in there, I put on that fucking, you know, like, look, I'm standing firm on what I'll punch the people in there and I've gotten into it in there, but I also usually have known usually the door people and shit like that. And they know that, you know, like, cause I would come in there all the fucking time, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer, even at any bar. Look, if they ask me to leave, I'm gonna leave. You know what I mean?
Right. Why would you want the problem?
My worst fucking deal is trying to go to jail. You know what I mean? I would rather, hey, look, I'm gone, you know, that's fine. I'll go home, you know, especially it's probably ready to go home whenever you're down there anyways. You know what I mean? You know, so I never understood that shit because I remember walking out of that place and seeing people out there just trying to fucking argue and fucking fight, trying to get back in, and you know they're drunk, you know, and it's like, no, you're not coming in, and they just keep on trying to go in, you know, and then I guess essentially you guys got to come, you know what I mean?
Try to convince them to leave, and a lot of people they just don't want to.
No
They're
shit.
like, well, I want my cover charge back. That's not how this works, man. You went in there and fucked up. And now you want to get paid to leave? Like, that's not how this works.
Well, and then the crazy part about that place is that people come from everywhere.
Yeah.
Good distances. I mean, I've met people in there from like Farmington, Missouri, fucking way down in Missouri that are like, everything's closed. We just came all the way up here, you know?
And I can't see how you can, you know, drink all night and then drive all the way back to Farmington. That's just insane.
Yeah, I've banged some chicks in that parking lot in my car. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's happening in that place. You know, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
But I also like, you know, I've heard of people getting killed in there, getting shot in the parking lot. I haven't necessarily seen anything like that, but I've seen some pretty good scuffles outside of there and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and inside of there, especially in the smoking area. You know.
On the patio?
Yeah, you know, like I said, you get groups of individuals that come in there and, you know, there's selling drugs or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I think you could say that with any kind of
For sure. After hours
nightclub,
place, yeah.
right?
I think that just the strip clubs, they take it more serious, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they got more security that's already on you more compared to Pop. Like at Pops, they got security. But I'm saying at the strip clubs, they pay more attention. You know,
Well, it's such a larger venue.
Yes,
You know, there's so many
there's
more
higher
people.
class people there too, spending money, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to that as well.
I can agree
You
with
know
that.
what
Yeah.
I mean? You know, they don't want to get rid of which. You know, I mean, they used some of these bars like up in Belleville, like you know, like Big Daddy's and stuff like that. You know, they've got more riffraff to where a lot of people stop going there. Now it's for sale. You know what I mean? And it's always dead. You know, because people don't want to get around all that kind of shit.
Right.
Whereas Pops, it's like it's the last resort. You know, everything's shut down. So everybody goes there, you know, because they still want to party.
You know,
It's got to be
and
entertaining.
everybody from different walks of life.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
even older people.
Yes.
He's like, shouldn't you be in bed?
I know.
Like, what the
I
hell?
know.
Man?
Yeah, there is. There is. Man, there is some older people I've seen in there that I'm like, what? the
You
hell
do
are they
not
doing
fit in here.
Oh man,
It's fun though, man.
it is.
You know, that working down there is,
Man, I tell you,
It's
they got
amazing.
good food. Have you ever ate their lunches? I don't know if they still do it.
they don't do lunch there anymore.
They used to do it.
So they used to have, and I think Diamond just started doing it again. They have lunch,
Okay.
right? Because they have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Now they stopped doing it for a long time.
Yeah. They do. Yeah.
So I heard, I don't know this
Well,
for sure. Like
well,
back in the day, like
Country Rock, they got steaks and stuff. They I thought
not
they,
anymore.
Oh, they don't.
So there used to be one guy that owned those clubs,
Okay.
right? But he sold them to another organization.
Okay.
Yeah. Like just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think his dad owned like 8 clubs around the country, and then he gave them to his son, and then the son sold them off because I guess he got into the marijuana game when it all became legal. You know, because he's like, well, I'm making a hell of a lot more money on this. Why am I messing with these clubs?
And it got to deal with less issues.
Right.
I mean,
you know, they're
Yeah.
you know, no more headaches.
Yeah.
You know, I think he sold 8 clubs for like upwards of 8 million or something like
I
that.
guarantee. I always thought strip club would be just a great deal. You know, because like they always say like you know, I mean, sex essentially is always going to sell. You know what I mean? And I just thought it would be like such a great investment. To
That
have a
would be
strip
terrible.
club. That's what I was just saying. Is I thought it would be like essentially probably an easy gig. But then, you know, talking to other people that actually own bars, they say it's really hard to make money, at least at a bar, like selling alcohol. You know, you really got to have a good niche in order to get people in.
Right.
You know, but I think the strip clubs still always bring people in, unless there's some ones that probably don't bring. I mean, there used to be Dottie's. What was it?
Dottie's Body Shop.
Yeah,
What's
Dottie's
that?
Body
That was in Collinsville.
Yeah,
Or between Collinsville and like Fairview.
it's all fenced in. That building still fenced in.
I remember that when I
unless
was a
they tore
kid
it down.
going driving by there, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. You know.
Yeah, here back in the day, like Diamond,
Yeah.
they had some very attractive women that worked. And actually would come in from other states and work like the weekend because they would
I
make
think
so
a lot
much
of them
money.
still do that.
I
I think Sajay's got the, as far as I'm concerned, Sajay's got the best looking women in the strip clubs in our area on this side of the river. I'm not saying that there's not no good looking girls in other clubs, but I think that they have the topper of the line women in Sajay and they bring more people there, in my opinion.
and I think they try to focus on that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Diamond does for sure.
Yeah. Especially being a 24-hour area to where they can essentially stay open. They can't do that at
Right.
other places.
Because dude, those dudes go in the Diamond and spend thousands.
Oh, I can only
and
imagine.
thousands.
I can
It's
only
crazy.
imagine. Yeah. I mean, there you got guys that are up there every day. They just sit there, regulars. Because we used to, whenever I framed houses, the guy that I framed for, he would we'd have a Christmas party and go to country rock once a year, and he would pay for everything. And we'd be like, we'd get there at like noon, and there'd already be like fucking old men and shit sitting there, hanging out with the girls. You know that they're regulars, you know what I mean? But just old rich regulars, you know.
What a waste of money.
Yeah. But they're probably essentially got so much money that they don't really care,
I think some people that do.
Yeah.
Because Diamond has like a VIP lounge.
Yeah.
And you have to pay.
Like, I like going to the strip clubs, but it's not really like, I'm not spending no money with the girls, because I always thought it's like gambling to me. I work too hard for my money.
Right.
But I'll still drink it away at Pops, though.
Strip club has never been a thing for me. This has never really appealed to me. You said, it's a fucking waste of money.
Yeah. I've actually, dude, I've had girls. We went to the Ozarks. We went to a strip club in the Ozarks, and it was for my buddy's bachelor deal. And I've told the stripper, like, I'm straight up with them, like, hey, look, I'm not really trying to spend no money with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And man, in the Ozarks, I guess because there's only like 2 strip clubs, they had like fucking 17 girls. And there was, I don't know how many of us there were, but like, they were still like lingering around, and I just kept on telling. I had told like 4 different girls, like, I'm not really trying to spend no money with you. I'm just drinking and hanging out, and it was like, it wouldn't take no for an answer. It was the most thirstiest strip club I've ever been to, and, but either way, that's how I'm always legit with them, because I respect their hustle. I do. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I think some of them girls, I know somebody personally that, stripper that has been in the military she just retired out of the military, and she would always work at some of the clubs when she came back, and she's went to school, she's had her, I'm saying that's probably few and far between, but hey, look, what better way to make money than to
take your clothes
something
off?
that you are well, I'm just saying something that you already have. And there's people, I mean, as long as you're not, because a lot of them girls are making lots of money off them guys, and them guys ain't getting nothing from them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some of them are possibly getting some, but I'm just saying there are essentially girls out there that know how to do that, and they make more than me and you in a night.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Easily,
100%.
And I mean, I just thought it was, so I respect it. You know what I mean? I know they get a bad rap. There's a lot of girls, especially people's wives and shit. They're like, them girls, this and that, but it's like, I'm too insecure to get on a goddamn stage in a fucking,
Right.
in a thong and shit, so it would really take some balls, in my opinion. And I mean, like I said, I mean, they're making some money. Now, there's a lot of them girls are probably on drugs.
Some, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like that culture.
Just trying, you got to stay up,
That, and it's like the party scene, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
they've kind of fallen into that, I guess.
Yeah. Either way, I guess we kind of went off the other way, but
right.
Let's explain to me some of these abbreviations.
So CBRN.
Yeah.
It's chemical, biological, explosives, radiological, nuclear incidents. That's what that CBRN stands for. So ILEAS is Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System. Is
Okay.
what that acronym is. So that it was developed, to my knowledge, after 9/11, right, in Illinois. And essentially, they have regional SWAT teams throughout the state that specialize in chemical attacks. And obviously, this is going to be like post-terrorism incidents, stuff like that. We could go in chemical suits, or if there's like where they're making chemicals or
like
something
meth
like
labs.
right, not meth labs.
No.
Like I'm in biological.
I get
weapons,
I get
right?
that. I
So-
just figured.
Yeah, we don't do meth stuff. The state police has a meth team that does that.
Okay.
But they will dress up if they have to go in, right? But we do some hostage rescue stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's like our special. That's how we get our funding.
Yes.
So my team, the team I'm on, we cover 10 counties in the state. And that's where we get our funding, and we train that. But we do a lot of local work too. So search warrants and stuff like that for local PDs.
Yeah. So you work in Sauget, but you guys are actually, the team, like the SWAT team set up, you guys are actually helping other people, because it's such a small area anyways for you guys. It'd be hard. You probably don't got a lot of crime down there other than with the clubs, and like you said, just removing people out. So you're saying that you guys actually go and help other jurisdictions on different stuff.
Right.
That's awesome.
And there's,
That probably keeps it exciting too. And
sure.
you're building relationships with other police officers as well,
Right.
and they probably are training in stuff that you guys aren't training in as well. So you're probably learning stuff from them.
Well, all of our trainings for the team is very regimented, if that makes sense. So all the teams have the same SOPs, which makes it so effective. So that way we could go anywhere in the state with that same team, and all the SOPs are the same.
Yeah.
So our training's exactly the same.
Yeah.
On the chemical side of stuff, like for the biologicals and stuff. Now we do other trainings, our team, individually, with like clearing houses and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, I think our full if we had a full roster, it's like 40 guys on the team.
Really?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Right.
That's awesome. It's kind of weird though. Not weird, but it's actually, in a way, it's alarming, but it's a good thing to hear that you guys are actually training for chemical, essentially a terrorist attack.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like dirty bombs, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I seen not too long ago on the news, or I was watching, and I think it was some state, and the police wanted to, I think it was before Trump's inauguration and some stuff, but the police were wanting to train for a possible terrorist attack, and they would not let them, they wouldn't let them do this training. It was, I can't remember what police force it was.
Really?
Yeah, they were being denied, and I think it was one of the sanctuary cities was what it was. And I can't remember, and who knows, it might have been some propaganda. But I mean, look, it's just crazy that you guys got to train for something like that.
Well, for sure. I mean, just the logistics in itself.
Yeah.
It's the amount of work that goes into something like that, just planning it. I mean, if you get a call for it, the amount of planning and people that have to be called and equipment that you need, it's people have no idea. It's crazy.
Yeah, that makes me think of that old movie with Nicolas Cage where he had the warhead.
The Rock?
Was it? No, he had the nuclear.
Yeah, was it nuclear or was it the biologicals with Sean Connery?
Yeah.
He was the FBI agent, he was a chemical expert.
Yes,
I think it was The Rock.
It was like radiation or something. It was
VX nerve agent.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, this type of stuff you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where it's like you could go into a house and you don't get another chance. Like if you get in contact with this kind of stuff, it'll kill you
instantly.
Yeah,
it's crazy. We actually did when I first got on the team.
No doubt.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's that you was talking about like just being a law officer. I mean, if I could go back and do it again, I just think it would be the greatest thing ever to be like, CIA, FBI. I just think there's so much excitement. You know what I mean? And I would have enjoyed it. Plus the structure of things, is because that's the main thing for me is structure. But the excitement, I just like, there's got to be such adrenaline rush with a lot of this stuff. We were talking about the fentanyl. What about in Brooklyn at Roxy's whenever they had
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. The detective, the ambulance people, everybody got nailed with, it got airborne or some shit like that.
They all started overdosing.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean? You can't even prepare for that.
No.
Yes. Well, this really happened. Yeah. This was like I thought it was like 7 people or 5 people. It was a stripper, had some shit in her shoe or something. And then they didn't know if it was cocaine or whatever. And then the officer, like a bunch of people got, they said it was from like airborne and I guess possibly touching it and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's happened actually quite a bit around the country.
I believe it. Yeah, because I was watching a show not too long ago. It was on the border. And they were pulling people over and they nailed this guy. And these 2 guys, there were 2 white guys, clean cut suits, was in like a really nice vehicle. Hey, had like over 10 fucking kilos of, they thought it was cocaine at first. And then they tested it. It was fentanyl. You know what I mean? These guys look like fucking straight up classy dudes, probably mid 40s, early 50s, look real nice. And the guy, like they're explaining out the video and the guy like is like playing to the T, like they didn't think anything suspicious. And they asked him a few questions. Next thing you know, he's like, they get in the trunk and he's got over fucking 10 kilos of fentanyl.
Just a suicide load, just laying in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that shit's so damn.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure just that, that's, I said on other podcasts, like Law for one, I mean, you guys are some of the most hated people, you know what I mean? Essentially, I think there's a lot of people that, still don't, not necessarily hate you, but with the whole defund and everything else that transpired with all them, all that political bullshit that was pushed, the police officers had it hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the price of doing business.
You look at it a positive way, though. I mean, I think, you're not a very pessimistic person. And I'm just saying, like, I think that, either way, even if everybody hated you, you'd still be like, yeah, but either way, that comes with the territory, and that's just you being positive. You're a positive.
It does,
guy.
but I mean, it's not everybody,
right?
No,
I know that.
I don't think it was everybody. Just the loudest voice gets on TV, the most obnoxious. It was
okay.
I think it was very few.
Yeah,
they were just getting a lot of airtime.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah, you're probably right. Actually, yeah,
it's easy for people to point the finger.
Yeah,
at us
for sure,
and not at themselves.
Yeah.
When they fuck up and they're like, "Oh, it's your fault." Wait a second. I just showed up, man.
You know what I always thought was funny is when anybody that gets pulled over, the cop will be like, "Why are you so nervous?" And I think like anybody that gets pulled over is nervous. You 100%. Just got pulled over by a cop, and then hey, that's the first thing. They're like, "Why are you so nervous?"
I've been stopped before.
It'd be like a 90-year-old lady. She's like, "What did I do?"
Right. I mean, like I said, I've been stopped before. I'm like, fuck. It's just. Yeah, I mean, somebody being nervous on a stop is really an indicator of anything.
Yeah,
you have like excessive, signs of
sweating, shit.
They're breathing heavy, right?
Eyes are going back and forth, Because I've watched it where they're like shining and you can actually see what's going on. You know what I mean? Because their pupils are this big, or but either way. But I mean. So after 9/11, they implemented this, which is, I guess, a good thing. Now, is all the police force trained in that thing, or just in Illinois? I guess.
Just in Illinois.
Now, what's a TL and the ATL?
So I was a team lead. So we have squads, right? So we have different squads on the team.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you have that many people, you got to break them up into teams.
For sure, that is big.
Obviously, we're not at full roster now, but we hold tryouts and stuff. So I was a team lead. So I have I had at the time an ATL. We had our own squad. We would plan trainings and stuff. So each TL and ATL, they get assigned training months, right?
Yeah.
So we had to find locations to train, figure out what we're gonna. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm an ATL now because I left the team and came back when I was switching departments. So I'm an ATL, back ATL.
Oh, so when you was at Montgomery area, you still doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So, okay. All right.
Because the sheriff, he sat on the board.
Yeah.
And he was, actually, that's how I met him.
Nice.
From being on the SWAT team.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
And because he was on, but when he became sheriff, so he had to get his other duties were more, I wouldn't say more important, but kept him busy. So he wasn't able to.
Why don't they implement more cops training, like staying physically fit and, actually learning jujitsu, things of these nature. Like I never understood that. Like you're watching cops and it's like 5 people trying to take down one guy. And, I'm not saying that couldn't happen.
That's poor training.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it should be almost just like the military. Like you should have to PT every day or so many times a week. And, I just don't understand why it's not implemented. And then I've heard people argue it's like, I got into arguments over that shit because I feel like every American, no matter what walk of life you are, you should be able to protect yourself. You should know something. You know what I mean? And majority of people don't know anything. You know what I mean? You should know how to throw a punch or know how to grab somebody or try to, physically harm somebody because they're going there are people out there that you don't know the situation you're going to end up into. It could happen at a grocery store. I mean, I've seen shit at the grocery store where there's very ballsy people out there that don't give a shit and will try to fight you right out in public and don't care about the cops and, or shoot you or whatever else. I mean, I just feel like especially police officers taking on a role or anybody of law enforcement should know how to do these things. And I'm not saying
now there's a big push. I mean, this has been the last couple of years to kind of implement the jiu-jitsu into the training. I mean, it's proven. How long has this been around?
Right.
Because you could really subdue somebody and not injure them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and you have good shootings that aren't good shootings. Does that make sense? Do you know where I'm going with this?
You're saying like maybe a guy has a knife, and instead of you could essentially de-arm the person a lot easier than just shooting them, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, do you remember, I think it was in Atlanta, the cops got called for the guy. He was in a drive-through of a fast food place. He was DUI. They get him out. They start fighting with him. He takes the cop's taser and they end up shooting him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of, but I don't. But
Have
either
you ever
way,
watched
yes.
that video?
No, I'll have to check
Dude,
it
it's
out.
fucking embarrassing. Like those
Yeah.
cops should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like they look terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would have trained a
Yeah.
little bit, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yes.
how much is your life worth?
Right.
You know, like at our academy, it was $100 a month.
Yeah.
Is your life worth $100 a month?
Right.
Right. Or you're not only saving your life, but what about, somebody else's?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing, and that's what my buddy Chad was saying in the one podcast he was talking about. Like even like the people that he dealt with that had guns, or he wasn't trying to hurt them. You know what I mean? As an officer, he was still trying to diffuse the situation. The last resort was to really try to kill you.
And that's the
You know what I mean?
thing. You're not trying to. But
Yes.
If somebody wants to push it that far,
Yes, exactly. And that's he said
able to injure and hurt
yes.
them,
and
know
you
what I mean?
should be. That's what I'm saying. Like, especially like whenever I think of cops or anybody that's even prison guards or anything, you know what I mean? Like, I think that look, you are essentially taking on a position where you're putting yourself at a higher standard than the average person.
100%.
You know what I mean? So you should lead by example, and you should essentially. And there's a lot of people coming out of the military that go to law enforcement. You know what I mean? But then I'm just saying that they're like, I've seen cops that are like 300 pounds that I'm like, well, how is this guy even, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably already been a cop for 20 years, got complacent or whatever else. But I just think you should physically be in shape and know how to protect yourself better than the average person. You know what I mean?
Sure, because if I can't save my own life, how am I going to save yours?
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Because you have a duty not only to the public, right, but to the guys you work with, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
If I'm some slob and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, like, and I get in some shit, like you're in trouble too. Or if you get in some trouble, like I can't help you.
Right.
Yeah. Cops are a different breed. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
They don't like, jiu-jitsu's not easy.
No.
Shit's, I mean, and it's a hard pill to swallow because you put yourself up there. I think
pride.
Right. And guys in general, like I'm fucking tough.
Yes.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Then you go to the jiu-jitsu gym and you're getting your ass kicked by some kid.
I know. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
I'm not as tough as I thought I was.
Yeah.
And that turns a lot of people off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's uncomfortable for one, and you really have to swallow your pride, and it gives, and another thing, when you learn how to do that stuff and you train all the time, it gives you kind of a cool confidence, right?
Yes.
And because I can be confident in my skill.
Yeah.
So I don't have to get all fucking worked up.
Yeah.
I can like, look,
yeah.
be cool with it. Right. And if you want to take it there, well, let's go.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're making a bad choice. But it does, man. It really humbles you. Right. Because you're like, yeah, I'm tough. No, the fuck you ain't.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different level.
Well, hey, look, and I don't think I know you just said it, cops in general, but actually it's kind of like this what we're talking about on the podcast. Like I was telling you, like this is a majority of people in this country. They don't want to do hard stuff, or they don't, whenever it gets hard, they stray away, or, it's the same concept. Like you said, confidence, that's why I enjoy working out. There's a lot of people that are like, man, you get up too early and this and that. And I tell you what, I got more energy whenever I get up and I work out than people that don't.
Right.
And I feel better and I got confidence. I walk around. It makes my life better. And I think people don't grasp it because they just don't do it. And,
they're just lazy, man.
And whenever I was, it was funny because whenever I was doing some stand up and shit and doing a little bit of trading and shit, I'd be like, I would just walk around. I felt more confident. You know what I mean? And I got some fights. I got my ass whooped too. I tried to head kick a guy at the concert out at fuck. I went to the Jelly Roll concert. This has been a couple of years ago, and so I seen this guy, man, that had some issues years ago with. You know what I mean? And so I've been fucking training leg like head kicks and shit.
Kick this guy's ass.
Well, no, look, I confronted him because he jumped on my cousin and shit, and anyways, I couldn't help myself because for one, I had been drinking a little bit, but for two, it was burning me up, and what happens in my life is that I'll take on issues if I don't nip them in the butt, if I don't go off and fucking confront the situation,
shit burns you up.
yeah, it'll just play in my head, and it'll just, and then I'll be like, man, you a pussy, but I don't like getting in fights, you know what I mean, and I try to stay out of fights, but I don't have no, like I said, I don't have no problem, if people disrespect me, I'm definitely going to stand up for myself, and I'm definitely going to protect myself, you know what I mean, and I'm no bad dude. I've had my fucking ass handed to me and everything, so we end up getting into a fight. We get to square up, and still I don't even know if I landed that head kick, you know what I mean, but hey, look, I fucking threw the kick. And then next thing I know, I ended up on the ground. The dude ended up on top of me. But the reason I think that I did land that head kick was because I had already been doing jiu-jitsu with you guys. You know what I mean? But I didn't know shit. Hey, but this guy was like fucking 2 times the size of me. He ended up on top of me. And I think that he fucking, that I landed that head kick because I think he was still out of it because he didn't try to progress anything, but I couldn't get his fat ass off of me. So I fucking grabbed his shirt like this and fucking made it to where he couldn't do anything. Like he couldn't, he hit me with like one punch in my lip and it got my eye and it just had like a little spot, but it was, it's part of that confidence though, you know what I mean? But probably a little overconfident.
Well, I was going to say,
what I mean?
yeah.
But either way, like I said, I think that people, they don't grasp that. Like you should be doing things like this. You don't got to, spar or whatever, but at least learn how to do some of this stuff. You know what I mean? And really with the jiu-jitsu, one thing that I like, especially training with you guys and you, that's why we make such a good connection is because you were super informative to me. And I feel like you were showing me more than people up there and kind of, taking me under your wing for the most part. So, I really appreciate that. But I'm just saying, like, in general, like doing this, people just don't grasp these concepts of like, you keep on doing all this easy shit, you feel like shit. You know what I mean? Right. You have to challenge yourself to something. It doesn't, whatever it is, you have to challenge yourself. You know what I mean?
And I tell people all the time, jiu-jitsu changes your life. Yeah. I mean, it just completely rewires your brain.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's humble. It's humbling.
Because you learn because some of the things you do is against your natural instincts.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I always explain to people, like, when you're being choked, for instance, you want to pull away, right?
Yes.
Naturally, you want to pull away from
it.
But some of the chokes that we use, it just makes them tighter.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to kind of close the distance and get on that. It's just crazy, man.
Even not even being choked, grasping the concept that, when somebody's even on top of you, like you being on top of me, it's hard for me to get you off of me. You're way bigger than me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm pretty damn strong, but at the same time, you also know how to distribute your weight. And for a lot of people, not being able to breathe is very easy to panic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in jiu-jitsu, you got to learn how to fucking realize, like, look, I can still breathe. I just can't breathe as much.
Right.
So I just need to concentrate on breathing, as much as I can, but it's still taxing you. And you talk about like, whenever I first came there, I had to take off like 4 or 5 days because my joints hurt so bad because I was trying to physically use my strength all the time. I couldn't use my fucking fingers. They wouldn't work. They just got back good like a few months ago. And but I mean, just like to me, maybe it's just because the way that I live my life, but I want people to grasp the concept that look, when you do stuff that is challenging, your life will get better and you'll gain more confidence. See, just going to the gym once or twice a week.
You can put that into anything. You say, well, if I can do this, then I can do that.
Yeah.
If I can roll for 9 minutes, then I can run 10 miles. Like that ain't shit. You know what I mean? I mean, you can put that mindset into anything.
Yeah.
Work, life, family.
I mean, it's like you said earlier, like you just, whatever you were talking about running, I would have never known that you ran fucking 30 miles a week. You know what I mean? But I mean,
not now,
just telling yourself like, I can get another mile. That's how I did whenever I did that 7 miles. I'm like, no, I'm not fucking sprinting. Hey, I'm moving though. I'm not walking. You know what I mean? and I feel like I could do the same thing. And that's what makes me push myself even harder, is because I'm telling myself that, and it gets easier. You know
It
what I mean?
does.
It still sucks, but it gets easier.
It's like I said, running's fun when you're in running shape. Like, right? Because at first you're like, fuck this, man. This sucks,
Yeah.
And at first, like when I started doing that, I didn't put myself on the clock.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going to go 2 miles.
Yeah.
And when I get 2 miles, and then when you do that for a long time, you're like, okay, I'm going to put myself on the clock.
Yeah.
Let's make this harder.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
push yourself a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I had the kid over here yesterday. We was doing the sandbag carries, and I really liked that. I bought them because I never really done stuff like that. But you pick it. I got one that's out there that's 165 pounds. You pick it. I had to carry it down my steps and all that stuff, and it killed me. But I got an 80 pounder and a 100 pounder, and we were just walking up and down the street. But you don't realize, So, but what I was getting at, we started timing.
Right.
Instead of you're making it more challenging,
Yeah.
And it's a great workout for one, because it's functional,
Well,
especially
sure.
for you guys are probably, how much does everything weigh, you think, that whenever you're into your SWAT gear?
Oh, my SWAT gear.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. SWAT gear's not really that heavy, 35, 40 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, my kit from work's probably a lot heavier.
Really? No shit, just your normal stuff?
Because I have more stuff on it.
Really?
For work.
Yeah.
Because I'm carrying pistol mags and rifle mags and, a knife, and you have gun belt and your walkie-talkie and all that other shit,
Yeah.
My SWAT kit actually is a little lighter. My plates are newer, so they're lighter plates.
Yeah.
SWAT vest. So it's heavy, but it's not like too terrible.
I got you. Yeah, because I remember I was talking to Steve about firefight, like wearing firefighter gear, and that shit's super heavy.
The bunker gear.
Yeah, and he was talking about they're like carrying like a 200-pound dummy up. I'm like, holy, that's dead weight, 200 pounds. That's a lot of weight to be trying to carry.
Guys, not only do they have their bunker gear, but then they have air packs on and shit, and they're carrying people and shit.
Holy cow.
It's fucking hard.
Yeah, but just dead weight alone. I mean, you grab up 100 pounds of dead weight, like a body. You know what I mean? I've never grabbed a 100-pound dead body, but
it's like carrying a sandbag.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's probably way more awkward because everything's just,
right,
just hanging. You know what I mean? So it's picking that shit up. But I mean, so all right. So what about the Medal of Valor and all this stuff that you got going on? And the FBI basic sniper training. Did you have to go down to a school for that?
Yeah, we went up to outside Chicago.
Okay.
Which it was pretty cool. So the FBI, and I don't know if they still do it. I mean, that's been a while, but
yeah,
they would put out all these free courses for law enforcement. Now you have to pay to get there and pay for your housing or whatever, but they're all like free. They have a huge list of courses that you go up there and train. And that school was,
because you could probably do all kinds of shit. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, they had rappelling. They had,
that's what I was
just a whole list of stuff. But that school was awesome. That school taught me more about shooting and I've been shooting my whole life.
Yeah,
going there, man. It's.
Do you guys got a range that you go to down there, or you got
where we're at?
Yeah,
we have our own range in Sauget, but up there they had, obviously it was the FBI.
Yeah,
training complex, so they got their own range and shit.
Now, I guess FBI is probably, are they good sniper? They got good snipers.
Yeah,
do they really? Okay.
Well, because they have the HRT guys.
Oh, so guys that are out of special forces and stuff like that. Okay, really?
And those dudes are like, legit.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
those are some serious operators.
No doubt. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about some of them guys coming out of there. I remember listening to like Chris Kyle talk about, just plucking off like all them people. And ultimately that's why they say, I think he took his life and shit, because he killed all them people, in Iraq, I mean, over 100 people just.
Well, he got killed by.
I thought he killed himself.
No. Chris Kyle didn't.
No, he didn't?
Because remember, he started that kind of organization where he was helping other soldiers and stuff. Remember
I think him and his wife.
Another
was it? Okay. Then I was wrong.
Right. He took him to the range and they killed him at the range. He shot him on the range.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. I thought he killed himself.
No.
No shit.
Yeah, the military, they're shooting distance. Like great distance, law enforcement.
Well, especially operators, like those, like, just watching some of the podcasts I watch and just like, people that have been in the military and like Chad was talking, he was a Marine. Was you ever in the military?
No.
Mm-mm. But like, the operators, I mean, these guys are, top, like we were talking about professional athletes. These are like the professional athletes of the military,
Right.
of whatever it is that they specialize in. And he said, it's like, look, people can sign up for these things, but a lot of people ain't able to make it through the training, so the people that do make it through the training, these guys are like the top of the line, essentially what you think of, like, I forgot who it was. I thought it was like, Tim Kennedy might've been talking about it, but it was saying like,
He was a sniper, I believe.
yeah, he was. But I think he was saying like, look, if ever everything went chaotic, like you should want to be the last person standing, and like, so you should want to be the baddest fucking person in all aspects of whatever you can, you know what I mean? And essentially some of these guys that he was talking about was like, if the whole United States went chaotic, these guys would know how to be the last people standing, and essentially, millions of people would be dead way before they are, whether they killed them or, they're just made it that far, you know what I mean? Which is crazy,
Yeah, back to the sniper thing, police, I think the average distance for police sniper shots is 75 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fuck, my daughter could do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we're not good and the snipers that we have aren't good. I mean, these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Like our sniper team those dudes are fucking them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're out there, you don't even see them.
Yeah.
They're hiding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all you hear is a shot, right? I mean, our sniper.
You don't even know where it came from, probably.
Right.
You know,
and those dudes train and shoot a lot, because I mean, that's a huge risk.
Yeah.
Especially if you're taking like a hostage shot or something.
Well, and then also like you were saying earlier, I mean, it's another way to keep from getting another officer injured or somebody else injured. If you can take out the subject from a distance without even having to do anything else, it's
right.
Why fight and struggle with somebody or take a chance of somebody getting hurt if
you can
eliminate the problem, eliminate it. Yeah,
100 yards away.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys had to do that yet? Had to actually do anything with sniping?
To my knowledge, I don't think our team has ever had to do.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But we still train like we have to.
Yeah. Have you had to deal with any hostage shit or anything like that since you've been in law enforcement? What's the worst thing that you've dealt with since you've been?
Oh man, over 19 years.
Yeah.
Shit, man. There's been so much. I don't know. Nothing like too terribly bad. I would consider like earth shattering. You know what I'm saying?
Biggest drug bust
for me personally.
Yeah.
I got a couple 100 pounds of weed out of a car one time, but that was. It's a funny story because typical like shitty car, guys dressed up real nice, stop him. He's got all the packing materials and stuff on the seat. So it was just like Arizona tags, right? So here's your typical like perfect stop.
Came from all the way down about the border.
Right. And he had 2 bales in the trunk. You know what I mean? And it was just like shit week too. Because sometimes what they do is they'll hide like kilos and stuff in the bales.
Okay.
So we have to cut them open to make sure. Yeah. It's gross. It's all.
I mean, now it's like getting busted with weed. I don't even think you guys probably even essentially do too much anymore. It'd have to be a massive amount, I would think.
Not really. So a lot of people, there's like this common misconception, like, oh, it's legal.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Right.
Federally, it's not.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So in Illinois, you have the civil side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the legal side of it. So you can't drive with marijuana. Right.
Yeah.
So as soon as you cross over the threshold of the vehicle, it's a misdemeanor. Right now you're into the arrestable offenses, right? But you can walk down the street with it, and that's the civil violation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually walk down the street with it in your pocket, but as soon as you get in a vehicle, you can't have it essentially open or anything like that.
Right. You can.
And what about the fucking the testing with that shit? Is that like where they're able to test it now? Supposedly like a DUI test. Can they do that? Because I've seen different stuff on that where like they're able to find out if you've been smoking and they can give you a DUI. Or is that just because you got to open?
They have some like standardized tests that they can do. The drug recognition experts, guys, and that's shit's hard. Like those dudes study their asses off.
Well, yeah, it's probably hard. I know a lot of people caught on to the whole, just deny and don't take the breathalyzer and the blood test. Well, they can't do the blood test in Illinois yet.
But
Oh, can
It
yeah,
can.
yeah. So I got a DUI, and I thought I was fucking. I didn't think I was gonna lose my damn license. You know what I mean? And I had already done a bunch of prison time, so I was like, yeah, I know people that I was in the union with that have had 2 or 3 DUIs and never lost their license. I got in Champaign, Illinois. And so I'm like, yeah, this ain't shit. You know, it's just one fucking DUI. I'm going to, get out of this thing. Well, it's a crooked ass area up there. And I ended up losing my license. I got revoked on my first DUI. And I didn't get my driver's license until I was like 28 years old. You know what I mean?
Did you submit to a breath test?
Yeah. So I did the fucking, I didn't do the breath test. They took me in. This is what really pissed me off because they took me into Walgreens. And then he fucking had his cell phone. They had me do the whole fucking thing on you did a great job. I did all that shit.
The walk and turn, the one like you stand.
Yeah, all that shit. He said I did a great job. He's like, all right, but we ain't done yet. Now I want you to count from 66 backwards. But this is where I get pissed off. You know what I mean?
Well, that's not a standardized test.
Well, either way, I got fucking pissed off because then I started feeling like I was being belittled. That's the thing about me and cops. Look, look, I'm very respectful, especially whenever it comes to police officers and dealing with police officers. Even to this day, I'm a yes sir, no ma'am, all that shit. But I hate cops or anybody that tries to belittle me and start trying to be a smart mouth to me because look, I'm not going to put my hands on a cop, but I don't have a problem. Just keep on digging until I go to fucking jail, because I'm going to get the last word in just because it makes me so fucking mad. Essentially because, there's still guys out there that, do that, it's just like, there's a whole bunch of, great prison officers that look, they respect you, you respect them, you know what I mean? But then you got some guys that, are they're just there just to fuck with you, you know what I mean? Or just, they don't really give a shit, and those are the fucking people that usually get assaulted by inmates and then they fucking go and cry and then they're picketing, they need more money because they're getting, it turns into a whole fucking deal. It's like, look, just respect people. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so they're like, you did a great job on that. Now count from 66 backwards. And I was like, no. I said, I'm not doing that. And he's filming me with a cell phone, you know what I mean, in Walgreens. And I said, I'm not doing that. I said, you do that, I started getting pissed. And I'm like, look, I've already did over 10 years in fucking prison. If you're going to take me to jail, let's go to fucking jail. So they took me to jail and I got out of jail and I didn't think it was going to turn into me getting revoked. But little did I know that Champaign and Cook County and Effingham County are like the top 3 counties to get a DUI out of. And if you've
I wasn't aware of that.
If you've ever had a misdemeanor, you automatically get revoked in Champaign County. They only got one DUI officer or one DUI judge. He's been the same DUI judge for over 25 years. Okay. Even though I lived down here and I ultimately ended up having to get a lawyer up there. I brought my lawyer from down here up to there for my first court date. And, she's been a lawyer for 27 years and she does very good for people out of St. Clair County and shit. And, she's like, look, I need to talk to you after the deal. She's like, what they're going to do to you. She's like, I've never seen this happen in all the time that I've been a lawyer. She said, but you're going to get revoked, because you have prior misdemeanors or whatever, even though that you don't have any type of auto or, any type of stuff like that. She said, they're going to revoke you. She's like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take X amount of money. It was like $150 for her coming up there. I gave her like $950 and she's like, I'm going to sit up here for the rest of the day and I'm going to figure out who the key players are as far as lawyers. So then she linked me up with this lawyer, took that money, gave it to him. I go up there. First, as soon as I walk in, the guy's like, introduce himself. He's like, so what's going to happen is you're going to donate me $4,500. You ain't going to get probation. You won't get no community service or anything, but you are going to get revoked. So it's like,
so what are you paying for?
Yeah, I mean, I still did though. And anyhow, so it turned into a whole debacle is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And I didn't think it was going to turn into this. I'm thinking, look, it's a one DUI. It's a misdemeanor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fuck it. I know I'm not going back to prison for the amount of time that I already did, but I was so resentful for all them years. So I just didn't, I was like, I'm getting over on this shit. I don't give a fuck. I ain't doing, I'm not doing the classes. I'm not doing this. And ultimately, I got my head out of my ass and was like, fuck this. So, I got pulled over, but what it would come up was that I never had a driver's license. So they would always write me up for
no valid.
I had a state trooper pull me over on 255 and say, say, he's like, dude, just go get a license. And I wasn't going to argue with him and tell him anything about anything, but so it made my wheels turn. So guess what? I had my grandma take me up to Belleville fucking DMV, right? Like, all right. So I'm going to get a fucking driver's license. You know, my grandma, she's all nervous and shit because I told her what was going on. She's all conspicuous or whatever you want to call it. She's conspicuous. She's reading a book. And they called me up there, you know what I mean? And so I go up there and I'm like, yeah, I want to take the driving test, this and that, right? So they take all my information and then I go sit down. And so I'm like, fuck, this is working. I'm going to get a fucking drive. I beat the system out. You know what I mean? I beat the fucking system out. And then so then they call me back up there and they're like, yeah, you need to go in there and talk to the whatever the officer is up there at the Belleville deal. So I go back there. He's like, as soon as I walk in, he's like, Mr. Walker, he's like, why don't you just do the fucking classes and just do what needs to be done? I was like, what are you talking about? So I still try to play it off. He's like, you're revoked. I said, oh, really? My driver's license? I thought I was able to get my driver's license. Hey, my grandma's fucking scared to death. You know, she's 70 some odd years old, you know what I mean? And she's thinking she's probably going to get arrested with me, you know? Anyhow, so finally, I went off. They gave me the maximum hours, which was fucking 75 hours. Well, because I went in.
Those classes aren't cheap, are they?
No, it cost me, I'm like $12,000 into one DUI. You know what I mean? And then my dumb ass, I would still drive drunk, you know, from Pops, you know, shit like that. Luckily, I never got pulled over again, you know, but yeah, it just, either way, like I said, I'm glad I got my head on my ass, but I still have that in me. Like, look, you know, just don't disrespect me. You know what I mean? I'm a very good person and I'm not trying to, you know, I'm always respectful. But I hate being belittled. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like, look, like I said earlier, like, especially being law enforcement, and I get that you guys deal with so many different people. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to be like, oh, you know, deal with all these shitheads and this and that. That's great. But you took on that position. You stepped up to the plate to hold yourself at a different level than me, or essentially a regular citizen. So, you know, we're not fruit, you know what I mean? So everybody's situation is different and, you know, you should treat everybody differently, you know? And I think there's still some individuals out there. I think majority of cops, like I said about military on this deal, is majority of them are doing it for the right purpose and are trying to, you know, help, you know.
Right.
But there's still little shitty people in and out of there. That's why, like with the cameras, I think the cameras are a good thing in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, they're great.
You know,
I fucking love them.
For both, for you and for other people, you know. And the whole fucking, like, I see more and more nowadays, which I think it's so publicized or political anymore, where everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon and videotape everything that's going on with the cops. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, just let them do what the fuck they need to do. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need fucking 10 people over here. I almost feel like you should be able to fucking, hey, kick them in the ass, get down the fucking street.
DeSantis, he just passed a law in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like a 30-foot law.
No, I didn't know. Yeah.
Right. Something like that. So if cops are doing something or whatever, you have to stay 30 feet away from them.
Yeah.
Which is fucking great.
Yeah. I mean, you
know, but I never really cared if people videotape me.
Right.
I'm not doing shit wrong. Like, who gives a shit?
For sure. I mean? But at the same time, it's still this like, look, some of these people are just trying to spread a dilemma is what they're trying to do, especially when it comes to race wise.
Well, I think they're just hoping like
something
happens maybe so they can clip it and then make an issue out of it.
Maybe that's what it is.
Back to the respect thing. Like,
you know, you see the videos
the
of
sovereign
shit.
citizens and shit like that.
Yeah. Have you ever dealt with any of that?
We had one guy that tried that shit and it didn't work out for him.
Dude, I had somebody recently, just a few months ago, that claims that there's a guy around here that did the sovereign citizen deal. And it is so legit, and I don't believe that shit from a hole in the ground. But
I mean,
supposedly, like supposedly the sovereign citizen deal, like the courts can't do anything.
So
if
that's
you
not true,
right? That's what I'm saying.
There's been. God, I just looked this. It's funny we got on this topic because I just looked at this the other day. There's like 15 or 20 U.S. Supreme Court cases that cover this.
Really?
Right? And it says basically, if you're in the United States, you have to abide by the law.
Right.
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 There is no independent, like, sovereign citizen shit.
Where did people get that from?
they're like, I'm traveling. Right. Whoever
What's the
came,
difference? It says though somewhere in the Constitution.
people came up with this bullshit, you know,
Yeah.
to
Well, that's what I'm saying.
try
Like
to circumvent whatever.
with the whole I don't gotta give you my ID shit. Like I've seen on like his YouTube videos and shit'll pop up, and there's a lot of these people. Like the cops are like, I don't have to because whatever is some court fucking bullshit. And there's lawyers out there spreading this shit, saying like you don't have to give them your ID. Like they'll come up on like little videos and they'll talk about it.
Right.
Be like, you don't, because of this right here, you don't got to give the, you know what I mean? And to me, it's like he was saying, Mike was saying one day, he's like, now he's like, every time he deals with the cops, he's like, dude, I'm just truthful with them. Hey, and everything plays out a lot better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
now, if you're a passenger in a vehicle, let's
Yeah.
take that for instance, and you haven't done anything,
Yeah.
if you say you and whoever are riding,
Yeah.
you're the passenger, they get pulled over. Now you don't, I mean, this is public knowledge. You don't have to give your license.
Right. I know, especially with my life, and it applies to everything we're talking about, is accountability, dude. Like, look, if you do some fucked up shit and you get busted doing it, no, I'm saying a lot of times if people are in the vehicle together and somebody's, usually it's probably, everybody's probably done something, or they're part of whatever else is going on in the vehicle. You know what I mean? A lot of people are probably getting high together, I'm not saying necessarily every time, but I'm just saying to me, there's no reason to sit back and try to make up some long ass lie, really. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, if you haven't done shit, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Like, here's my shit. Now, unless you're like on, supervised release or something, and there's a requirement that you have to now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a lot of times, even I've noticed, even with the cops too, it's like, look, you can keep on carrying that shit on, and then if they want to search the vehicle, the dog alerts every time. You know what I mean? I haven't seen a time whenever a dog doesn't alert, and I don't even know if they fucking alerted.
Dude, I had to stop.
They're like, the dog alerted. All he did was sniff the goddamn rock on the ground. But have you actually dealt with situations where you had like you guys were trying to search a vehicle and you had to let them go?
Sure.
Because they stood on it and you guys even going through the whole process and trying to do it.
And this has been I had a great stop. These young guys, they're coming from like California.
Yeah.
And this is late at night.
Yeah.
Stop on 270.
Yeah.
And neither one of them have a job.
Yeah.
Right. And they gave me this bullshit story about they were traveling around California, staying here and staying there. And I'm like, wait, you guys don't have any employment? Oh,
yeah.
How the fuck are you paying for this trip?
Right.
Whose vehicle is this? Mom's.
Yeah.
Oh, really? And I knew they had a little dope in there, man. So I had a dog come and he sniffed the vehicle. But what I didn't know, and I wish the handler would have told me this, the dog had been hurt, and she's like, "Oh, he broke his leg." Or I can't remember what had happened to them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. She was alerted, but I'm like, I had to let him go.
Really? No shit. I don't think that probably happens very often though, too. Them dogs are pretty sharp too.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
And here's the thing. And so say you took something and wrapped it up. Right? Yeah. Like these fucking smugglers do.
Yeah.
They'll wrap it in like cellophane and put like coffee or, grease, mustard. Okay.
No
so the way the dog works, right, is when he sniffs something, he smells the grease, coffee or whatever, mustard, and then the contraband.
Yeah.
Right. So he can differentiate between each one of those.
Crazy.
Yeah. Smells.
Yeah. No doubt.
Right.
Yeah. I went to.
Right.
I went to a party at a guy's house. I'm not gonna put his name out there, but he's a cop, and he used to be out of Brooklyn, before they got raided and all that shit. Dealt with whatever when the feds came down there. But he had a canine, and man, it was the fucking coolest fucking dog ever. Hey, look, we were at this party at his house, and that dog, it was fucking. Hey, it would not leave his fucking side, and like I tried to pet it. And it wouldn't like growl or anything. It'd just get away from me and it'd go right on the other side of him. I mean, like a normal dog you can pet, this thing would not let anybody touch it. And it would just stay on either side of him. And I was just so fascinated with this dog, and I was asking him questions and stuff. And he was like, check this out. So he went and got a pair of scissors, and there was this fucking tall grass. It was at nighttime, fucking took these fucking scissors, dude, launched them out there and then said some shit. I think it was, in a different language, obviously. And yeah, and that fucking dog, man.
He uses German or Dutch.
It was a German Shepherd
Yeah.
that he had, and he even showed me he got the dog from a different country, and it had a tattoo on the inside of its ear. And man, hey, that dog went out there, man, and fucking brought them scissors back, dude. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, you know.
Them dogs are great. Dude,
Yeah.
Canines are great.
Yeah,
they're a great tool.
It's yeah, especially I mean, fuck, you gotta think them things were used in war and all kinds of stuff, you know. I mean, the best partner you could ever have. I mean, they essentially,
trained. I can't remember it, and this has been some years. They had trained some dogs to smell cancer.
Oh yeah, I seen some shit like that. And bed bugs. They
fucking
do all
crazy,
kinds of
dude.
crazy ass shit. Yeah, there's a lady that I've seen that. There's a lady that has a dog that does that, and she can supposedly smell the tumors in people's body and shit. You know, I haven't looked into it that deep, but I seen the one where this guy, he runs a business. It's a bed bug business, and he has fucking beagles, and they can smell bed bugs, and you know, just like crazy, you know. But I mean, when you look at like the history of human beings, I mean, dogs have been with human beings for years.
Yeah.
You know, it's the greatest thing ever because a dog is like, they're so loyal
and they're
you know?
fucking smart.
And
Some of them dogs
I always
smart.
use like the canine dogs I always use them as an example as human beings because like I said, like human beings are made to work. We are made to have something to work towards.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, when you're sitting around and you don't have anything, you don't have no goals, you don't have anything, those are the people that are depressed. Those are the people that
sure.
are complaining
100%.
all the time because they don't have shit to work towards. Absolutely, you feel like shit. Absolutely, you're depressed. Absolutely, you know. And I always think of like canine dogs, and I always use that example because a lot of times the officer doesn't give them a treat. They got a toy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of giving them a treat, they give them a toy, and the dog is just so happy to just play. You know what I mean? Like it worked for them to, you know, toss that toy around, and it's the same concept as human beings, you know, but the toy is actually a goal. Like if you set goals and you accomplish them, you gain more confidence, whatever that goal is, you know what I mean? And it's going to make you a better person and make you essentially, you know, have a purpose. You
Right.
got a purpose, you know?
Dude, those dogs want to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They do, and especially like the Malinois and shit, they're so
yeah.
high strung. They have to do something. They have to.
I almost got one of them instead of getting one of them little dogs. I was looking into ordering a Rottweiler from Ukraine, having it imported, or else Belgian, you know. But then I talked to this girl that had one, and she was she said that they are super high energy. She said you got to get them outside.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You got to do something with them.
Yeah.
Because if not, they
start going viral on all the videos, and I think a lot of people like me was like, "Oh man, I'm getting one of them."
Yeah.
Just fucking walking across the string, climbing the trees, you know. I mean, yeah, fucking
Dude, those
so
things are fucking
expensive.
expensive, and they have so many health problems.
Yeah,
my wife wants one, and I would love to get her one. Yeah.
Car's got that one,
and she's sweet.
Yeah,
she is a sweetheart.
They are expensive though. I mean, you're talking 35 to five grand easily. What's crazy? We're even getting on this, but so when I was looking into Rottweilers, because I've always thought we had a Rottweiler puppy when I was a kid, and I always thought they're like the toughest looking dogs. You know what I mean? If you get them imported, they don't cut their tails off because it's part of the culture over there.
Right.
They do not. They have their tails. And you will actually get an actual Rottweiler. Whereas if you look into Rottweilers now, they've been bred so many different ways. And you can go and you can also look at like the Spuds McKenzie dogs and look at what they used to look like
Right.
and what they look like now because they've been bred with so many different. It's just crazy how much it's changed. Because like the Rottweiler, like there's a place in Missouri. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, it's crazy.
Man, I want a Borbal.
Oh man, hey, so I African.
It's an African Mastiff, and
they're the biggest. They're
enormous. Too.
Other than the Tibetan Mastiff, I think the Tibetan Mastiff is the biggest one.
Yes,
but the Borbal is like 200 plus pounds. So I got a call last year, and I went up to by Warden, Illinois. by Pocahontas, I believe, or something like that. They have a dog kennel up there, and they have Presa Canaries. They raise Presa Canaries, if you know what that is. And man, they had like over 50 of them.
I had a Cane Corso.
Did you? Looks almost exactly the same. You know what I mean?
It was fucking.
Yeah, they're fucking badass. I almost bought one from the guy, but man, he wanted $4,500, and he was willing to trade. Because what I did was they needed heaters for the wintertime, so I wired up all the shit into the dog kennels. But they still wanted like $4,500. But they're one of the most well-known Presa Canary breeders in the country. They actually have, I think, 2 dogs that have actually came from the Canary Islands that they've,
Oh, wow.
you know what I mean? But I mean, you're talking massive. Them dogs were massive, and they look, they looked apart just like a Cane Corso.
Dude.
I mean, but the problem is too,
those are one-person dogs.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And they can be aggressive because they're a bigger breed of dog, and you got to know how to handle them.
So I got a deal on mine, right?
Yeah.
So because I was like, man, for a long time looking at them, and my wife found a breeder.
Yeah.
Right. Contact her. She said, I have one puppy left. We're about to have another batch of them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, I'll sell you him for $750.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Right. He was fucking tiny. He was about as tall as a
Until
water
6
bottle.
months.
So, and they say when they're young, right?
Yeah.
They say you can never hit those dogs.
Right.
Right. Because they become very aggressive.
Yeah.
You have to really train them.
Yeah.
Right. And so I worked real hard with him, and he was fucking. But he would not listen to my wife. She didn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But he was
especially a dog that size, 200 pounds, 200, 180, I mean, they get big, you don't really realize that's a big dog. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Their heads are huge.
Yes.
Huge.
And they're like this whole thing with pit bulls where like they bite and they lock down and you can't, you know what I mean? Like the same thing with like, with them, they get such a bad rap because of look, you know what I mean? But I mean, ultimately a dog that big could still essentially hurt you,
kill you
very easily. Yeah.
It'll kill you
well,
really
the Presa Canaries, I don't know if you remember this, but out in California, there was a guy that was in prison and left these 2 Presa Canaries, or maybe I know there was an incident in New York and there was one in California. 2 Presa Canaries mauled the person in the hallway of the apartment complex. And that might have been in New York or in California, but a guy was in prison. He left these 2 Presa Canaries to the chick that he was dating. And she lived in an apartment complex, and she went to go out, and the other person was going out, and the dogs ended up killing this lady and mauling her in the fucking hallway. And obviously 200-pound dogs. What are you doing? I mean, most people were trying to get involved. And ended up killing her. But then another incident happened in New York, and I thought that they banned them. And I was talking to these people, and I guess they took the ban off like so many years after that. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Over that stuff.
And those dogs have to be socialized.
Right.
If you don't want to be animal aggressive, right?
Yes.
They have to be socialized with
Yeah.
animals. And they say the way you kind of discipline those dogs is when they do something wrong, you grab like their lip.
Yeah.
But they said, don't hit them.
Yeah.
It'll be aggressive as fuck.
Man.
But he
grabbed their lip. That
dude,
sounds like some great white shark shit. They were like, oh, you just hit him in the nose.
He was a good dog.
Yeah.
Right.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, how long did you have him? Did you have him till he was full size then?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I have a picture of him on my phone. He's like leaning up against the wall.
Yeah.
He's
the problem is too, like the bigger breeds of dogs and even the German Shepherds, they get hip dysplasia.
So
yeah, you got to know where you got to get a certain
breeding. Don't let him jump
breeding.
off trucks. Don't let him, because when I had him,
yeah,
it was funny because when he would sleep between my legs in bed, right?
Yeah.
And he's fucking huge.
Yeah.
My wife's like, he's not going to sleep anywhere else. This is where he wants to sleep.
Yeah.
Just let him sleep there.
Man.
He's like a big baby.
When I was in Wood River, these people that were my neighbors down the street, they had this, it was a bull mastiff, and I always thought it was so cool from Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
That movie, I thought it was a badass movie. And, okay. All right. Either way, so these people gave me this dog, and I didn't realize that its hips were fucking shot. So I really didn't have no business taking this dog. You know what I mean? Because I worked at the refinery and I was working all these hours. And man, this thing, I didn't realize until like 2 days later that his hips were fucked up. It was dragging its fucking legs and shit. So a friend of mine, she came and got it. She came and got the dog and shit, and ended up taking it. But its hips were going out, and I knew that's what it was. And then my dog died. I had a dog that my cousin gave to me whenever I got out of prison and shit, and I'd have the thing with me all the time. That's this guy. I'd be this dog would be with me everywhere. I'd be at the bars and shit. The dog would be out in the truck, I just had him with me so much, and then fucking he got to where he was like just falling apart, and we ended up having to put him to sleep, and then I got these two little dogs. I tell you what, dude, I love them fucking things. I do. I mean, I never thought I would have, but I mean, like, I really love them fucking dogs. Like, whenever I get home, that's like, I'm just so happy to see them. They're on the chair waiting on me. You know what I mean? And we get to look, they get their haircut and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But what about the medals? Let's hear about these various medals. What is the Medal of Valor? Because I've heard of this thing, but I don't really know exactly.
You get it for doing something stupid.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. When I worked for Pontoon, we had a shooting, right? Do you remember Mac and Mix off 203?
Was that a bar?
Yeah.
I just know the one that's right there before you go over the overpass.
That's Smoky Joe.
Yeah.
So this one's like out on 203 by the racetrack.
Oh, off of 203.
Yeah.
Is that where Eagle Park and all that shit is?
No, so that's in Venice.
Okay. Yeah.
Venice.
Yeah. So I don't know.
This is a dirt track. It's like you're going into Grant City from 270. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, we get a call out there one night for a shooting.
Yeah.
So we fucking out there, and they're having like some huge party out there or something. He's over there behind, right?
Yeah.
So I run over there, and he's still got the gun in his hand. Guys laying on the ground. Tell him to put the gun. He points the gun at me and shoot him.
Oh shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so that's what I got it for. You know what I mean? And
did you end up killing a guy or
no? He lived.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Where'd you hit him at?
In the face.
Really?
Twice in the face, and then one hit him in the neck.
Man.
And the victim. So the story is that the victim was a DD for some other. We took him home.
Yeah.
And he's coming back into the parking lot. These two cats are fighting each other. So the one guy gets knocked down. This guy goes over to help the guy up who got knocked down. He pulls out a pistol and shoots him in the chest.
Oh man.
Right?
Turned out quick into a bad situation fast.
So the bullet ricochets off a rib and goes around his heart.
Holy shit.
And lodges between his heart and his lung.
Holy cow.
Right? He survives.
Yeah.
Okay. So then when they go to prosecute this guy, his lawyer's like, he didn't shoot him. Where's the bullet? It's still in the victim.
Yeah.
Right? 6 months, year later, the bullet works its way around the guy's lung into his back, and they cut the bullet out.
Oh my.
And they said it was perfect. Look, he had never been shot.
Really?
Yeah.
So there was this, whenever I was at Shawnee, there was a dude, white guy that came in from Chicago, and he got hit with 5 hollow tips in his stomach. And oh man. Hey, so it wasn't that old. Like, it was within, X amount of months or whatever. And then he got came to prison. You could take your fingers like this, and you could stick it into the crease where his stomach had never been sewed completely back shut. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he said what he would do was he would get scabs, and this is how serious they are in prison. But he would get a scab, and it would be part of shrapnel that would push out. He was supposed to turn that in. You know what I mean? That the pieces of bullets, because obviously
that copper jacket.
The hollow tips just so. But he said it would just scab up. Like, he'd just get a random scab, and it'd just be his body pushing that metal out of it. But dude, it was, when he pulled up his shirt, it would look fucking gross, man. He lived, you know what I mean? But it only looked like there was like a thin layer of skin holding all his guts in, because I don't know why they never completely sewed his stomach completely shut. You know what I mean? Dude, it was fucking gross. I couldn't imagine it, it's just crazy. Well, I'm sure. I mean,
so the guy I shot, like, one bullet went in his nostril, and the other would hit him in the cheek.
Oh man.
Right? And these are 45s.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It's a good size round.
Right.
Yes.
So they went through into his sinus cavity, and they went out right here.
That's crazy.
Lucky man.
Yeah, that a friend of mine, she's a physical therapist, and she works at this place, and she was telling us we all went out to eat, and she's got this kid up there. These are people that live in like a facility, you know, like I guess their family and around there's essentially like a nursing home.
Sure.
But it's for people that have, you know, different physical disabilities. And this kid, he got shot in the head, and he only can say a few words, you know what I mean? And he just says that every day, like you know, he's the same shit, and you can barely understand him. But it took a good portion of his brain out to where he knows what's going on,
Right.
but he just can't get stuff
Process
out
it,
and
right.
process it, and he can only say a handful of words. She said, so it's just crazy.
Dude, bullets do weird shit.
I mean, to bounce around. Now I heard that with like 22s. That it's you know, the 22s are
even rifle rounds
yeah,
do that shit.
yeah.
Sometimes they'll hit a bone and
Yeah.
they'll ride the bone down and come out somewhere else.
Ain't that something? You know, to think that, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, whenever I got shot, I didn't even realize I got shot. You know what I mean? Luckily, it didn't hit my femoral artery. You know, it just blew through my whole fucking muscle of my leg. You know what I mean? But it's crazy that some of these people live after being shot so many times, or even situations like people being shot in the head, like going right through their brain. You know what I mean? You think that they're done, and they're really not. You know, it's you know.
I mean, there's been cases like people have been shot. Like they were telling me at work. I mean, this is some years ago. They had a guy get shot, and the bullet was just like stuck in his head. It never went into his. It was just like stuck in his skull.
Really?
It, like never penetrated his skull.
My cousin,
Man,
my cousin got shot by a BB gun, and he's got a BB right here. It's been right here since a kid. It just sits right here. Never got it removed, but you can see the BB. It just has been sitting there for years, right here. It's crazy. I mean, it's just a BB. It's just been there his whole life, and he's like 46 years old. You know what I mean? And it's just been there. It's never removed it or anything, but you just see the BB just sitting right there in his eye. It's almost like it just fell into his eye and just sat there. But it's literally a BB sitting there. You know what I mean?
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's a surprise he never got it. Like, it looks like you can almost push it out, but it's probably grown in there now, you know, obviously. But either way, I mean, that's one of the scariest things I think nowadays, especially in society, is just, you know, we're talking about guns and, you know, just, man, the little fanny packs, you know, young kids with the fanny packs. Like, I think about it ever since I've been shot. I think about that shit.
Those side shoulder bags.
Yeah, and they're very common. And, you know, like, I think about it all the time whenever I'm out in public. You know what I mean?
There's like young cats.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Just
But I'm saying
young
kids
kids
that I've
are
experienced.
so fucking violent, man.
Like Chicago, you look at Chicago and shit. You know, I mean, these things happen all the fucking time. You know what I mean?
You'll probably be surprised by this. So before I got into law enforcement, I never realized how violent.
Oh fuck!
You know what I'm saying?
It snapped.
Well, because you think men are violent. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Women are violent.
Man,
Violent.
It's crazy. I watched some of them episodes of Snapped, and it's just like same deal. They say like they're more heinous crimes that women commit.
Dude,
you know,
I've seen women do some violent shit.
Really? No shit.
I mean, shoot people over nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Really?
We had a gal shoot a guy, and he just went up to talk to her.
Yeah.
She blasted him in the.
Really? Damn, dude.
Dude, just
that's
heartless.
Ain't
like
that
cold,
something?
Just cold, dude. They're fucking cold.
Yeah, I mean that actually that makes you think, you know, because a lot of times I know, especially with domestics, whenever the police come, you know, they always say the first call and all this other shit, but it always seems like the man gets removed from the situation. You know what I mean? You know, even if there ain't kids, you know,
not so much anymore.
Really?
Yeah, that's really kind of changed.
Okay, well,
you know. Just because you call the police,
yeah,
don't mean you're the victim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. That's true. I just never call because I think that it's better a lot of times. Look, if there's a situation going on, you know, that's the way I think, because when you get police involved, usually somebody's going to jail. You know what I mean? And in a lot of cases, you know, and maybe it's just part of
you know,
lifestyle.
I'm so fortunate. Like my wife is, you know, and
little do you know she'll kill you.
She's coming on, and she's a good shot. So, but we don't really fight.
Yeah,
we have the normal like relationship bicker, right? Yeah. But if there was ever a situation where we really got into it, I would just like leave the house for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I'm so
that's
fucking
yeah,
great.
that's a healthy relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
How
And I
many
know,
people
like,
have that? You know?
maybe I should leave right before you kill
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but for real, like, yeah, because it's easier just to be like, okay.
How long have you been married?
You
You get you got it. You're
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
She's fucking great.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
know,
I'm sure.
even both sides, you
Yeah.
know, even if it was
Yes,
man married
that's
to
what I
a
was
female,
doing.
vice versa, because especially, you know, I work nights primarily and, you know, and so she's doing it all,
Yeah.
you know, and she's fucking, you
Yeah.
know, but the stress that I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like being married to somebody, like every time they go to work, oh, they might not come home.
No,
That's fucked up,
no,
right?
absolutely. I mean, you know, that's what there's to say about like military women and shit like that. You know what I mean? And just I guess it's essentially a little bit different because some of these guys are overseas or whatever. But you know, it's commendable on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it definitely has to be hard. You know,
And I'm a crabby fuck, you know, so
Yeah.
I'm not easy to live with,
Yeah.
you know, most of the time. But she takes it in stride and she's just,
What do you think essentially helped you guys keep your relationship that strong though? Because I think that's probably something that people need to hear because
well, I mean, we really talk, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but we've always been like super cool, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if I'm on some bullshit, she'll tell me.
Yeah.
If she's on some bullshit, I'll tell her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So our communication is really good,
yeah,
you know, but we spend time together too. You know, I know people that don't like to hang out with their wives. Fuck, my wife's the best friend. I love
Yeah.
hanging out with her. She's cool as shit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah. You guys are always on fucking whatchamacallit, trips and shit,
Yeah.
cruises.
She calls me her vacation princess, right? Because I don't plan any of this shit. I just go, right? She's like, "Oh, you're the vacation princess." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. She's
man, I mean that's great because I feel like I meet more people that have in shitty relationships. You know what I mean? That just just me working around people and going to people's houses. Like I hear more and more people that have been divorced multiple times. That's another reason why I haven't been married. You know,
Yeah.
and I guess essentially that's not good to base my life off of somebody else's
experience, yeah,
situations. And that's one thing. Like now, especially with me going to church and trying to walk with Jesus Christ, is I need to get married if I'm going to be essentially be in a relationship for a long term. And that's I always be like it's not a commitment thing. It's I just didn't like it because it's a religious thing, and it's somebody could essentially take you for, stuff. And, that's the way I looked at it all the time, what I
Right.
mean? And, so I had never been married, but then also, like I said, more people that I meet have been divorced, or talk about divorce, or their significant other ain't there. And I'm doing electrical work. And they're like, yeah, my fucking wife, this fucking bitch, or my husband, and, this and that. And, so it's like,
I never got that. I never understood why other people belittle their spouses.
Or people sticking around just because they got kids. That happens a lot, I think. You know what I mean?
But often, if it's that bad, it's better to not be together.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's I say that all the time because it's it's we're here for a short period of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, that's my main focus is finding joy and happiness and, whatever that is, that's what I'm searching for, especially right now,
Sure.
And I think that a lot of people, will spend their life miserable because they're afraid to change. Yeah. And I am too. Like I got set routines, dude. I got a set routine that I do on a daily basis. And sometimes if I don't do it, it throws me off, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I keep on moving, whereas some people, they just don't, those are the people that, like I said, they're the depressed, point the fingers and all this other shit. But routine and structure is the main thing I have to have in my life. You know what I mean? I know people that are able to do be real spontaneous and just live their life spontaneous and be happy. And I can't understand it,
Yeah.
because I'm like,
I'm not very
man,
spontaneous.
no,
Yeah, structure's good.
Yeah.
I think that comes with, and that's the discipline side of things.
Yeah.
Having that structure.
But I think, yeah, it absolutely is. But I'm just saying that there are actually people out there that are genuine happily that
Yeah.
have no structure. And I can't, like I said, I'm like, how?
God, that just
Like-
seems like anarchy. You know what I mean? I just fuck.
Like, what's going to happen? You
Right.
know, what's, you know, I mean, but I think majority of the people, like I said, are miserable because they don't have the structure. You know what I mean?
True.
Because they just won't even take the chance to, you know, do it because it's just an easy thing. You know, I always say this because David Goggins says it. He's like, it's super easy to look like you are like top shit in this world today because majority of people ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? So even if you're putting in fucking 90%, it looks like you're putting in 150 to majority of people.
Something
you know what
about
I mean?
being average now.
Yeah,
looks like
it's
being something like
you,
that.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so
Well, like I was saying before, I know it's hard, but people like you do with the gym, working out, just got to
Yeah.
make it part of your life.
I know I do.
But me saying that, you still have a life.
Right.
So, I mean, you just got to make it when you, it's like,
that was one of the things that I planned on doing was I wanted to at least get a stripe this year. It was funny because before we moved from that one place down there, everybody got a stripe. You know, I wasn't showing up and shit. But then Tim was like, he's like, "You're next, brother. You're next, brother." And then I didn't go back for like 3 months. You know what I mean?
and honestly, you know,
And I don't really. It's not even really. It to me, like I know people are like, oh, you know, my one buddy Brandon, he does a lot of no gi, and he's like, I don't give a fuck about belts and this and that, like John. But like to me, like I want something to work towards. I like tangible stuff. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing stuff.
I'm not big on belts either.
Yeah,
You know, but me saying that, because I just want to be as good as I can be.
right.
Right. It doesn't matter. Because like I was telling Lee's son the other night, because I felt like he was kind of holding back when he was rolling with me. I said,
Yeah.
man, I see you go with the other guys and you're like fucking attacking him.
Is he good?
He's pretty good.
Really?
So I was like, why are you kind of holding back? He's like, I don't know. It was because of my belt. He's like, yeah. I go, fuck this belt. I go,
Yeah.
I know purple belts that fucking suck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The belt
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
mean anything. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's nice to have something to show for all that hard work.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you like.
Because you're
unless-
like, man, I fucking earned this.
Yeah,
Right?
unless you're like doing all these tournaments and just winning all these medals and stuff. I mean, then I understand the whole point. But like, I mean, yeah, that stripe is a lot. You know, whenever you get a stripe, or I mean, like I said, I mean, it's a challenging thing to do. You know, and it's not like some gyms. I mean, guys are it's taking them 10 years,
Right.
to get to purple belt or whatever. I mean, there's some gyms out there. I've heard some ridiculous amount of years for people to get to some of their belts, even though that they're already at that level. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess, and this is the thing, like, it's just like MMA. The sport is always progressing because you got so many hungry fucking individuals coming in. Even like them two little brothers that come up there, they're,
Oh, yeah.
they're up there all the time now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can guarantee they're
Man,
pretty good now.
It's like a drug.
Yeah.
It's
it is.
so fucking addicting.
It's like a drain. It feels exactly. You know what I mean? There's, like I said earlier, it's like the strength against another person's strength. And like, goes back to ancient human
Right.
beings. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it probably goes back to like caveman era where like they fought over the women. I mean, like all this stuff, this is part of, I think, not just men,
Right.
because there's a lot of women in it, but just the pride and confidence and challenge,
Yeah.
to the stuff, so it's,
And not that, like everybody that I've met in the jiu-jitsu world, they're fucking great.
yeah.
Like everybody's so cool.
Yeah.
And just so like humble and just willing to help,
Right.
And it's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's just
mean,
fun.
yeah, especially whenever you see some individuals where their ears are completely gone. And this guy could, he knows some shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But he's probably the nicest guy ever. You
Right.
know what I mean?
But he's
You
he's got a dark side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And it's like Joe, just like Joe Rogan says, how does he say it? I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's a good, I haven't heard that one, but yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like we were saying earlier with Tim Kennedy, like, just look, you should want to know how to be the baddest person in the room, at least be at some type of status to know that you know what I mean? You can handle whatever comes at you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm a nice
Especially
guy.
if you got a family.
Right. Because here's the thing. Like, I'm nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I can be violent.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you fuck with one of my kids,
Yeah.
I'm going to rip your face off.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And another thing, they did I just heard this again the other day. They interviewed some like child murderers and stuff.
Oh, I seen this.
Did you see that?
Yes.
And they're like, we focused on kids where their dads were not a threat.
Yep. I seen it. And we're talking about I think the guy was like muscle bound or something. He looked
Right.
the part. And I brought this up to somebody else because I seen that same deal. And that's even, even if you don't train, just looking the part, you know what I mean? People are less likely to try to take advantage of you. You know what I mean? Or your family.
Right?
I mean, yeah, for
Because
sure.
if I'm some, bad guy.
That was crazy because that dude was a serial fucking
Child murderer.
child murderer. Yeah. And I remember that. I don't know who that was. I seen that fucking video, and that was just crazy. And that's just
How
one.
shitty
That's just
did-
one of many.
Right. I mean,
know what I mean?
to look so weak that now my kids are in danger, like that's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of fucking dads. There's a lot of American people that they couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag. You know what I mean? And they would just they would let their family get
Well,
because they were too scared.
Yeah. Or
Because they don't know. Yeah.
Right.
And that's scary. That's
Yeah.
scary. You know what I mean? Even looking at some of the kids that are coming up that like they look like girls. You know what I mean? They're not even transgender. It's just the way that they look and how soft these kids are.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, it's scary
Yeah.
because these are essentially the individuals that are going to carry on the culture, I brought this up, but like this is one of the main things that, makes me so mad about the way that this country has been ran in the fucking ground is that at some point in time, your ancestors, my ancestors came over here. You know what I mean? These people were hard people.
Right.
You know what I mean? These people had to make decisions that, hey, look, there's fucking 5 foot of snow outside. We don't got no shoes on, but we got to get some food. You know what I mean?
Shit.
And they fucking had to go do it. I mean, I'm just saying there's all these different things that these people have paved the way for us to be here. And we have essentially just ran this fucking place into the fucking ground and let some of this shit transpire.
Right.
I mean,
They're fucking it up.
yeah, I mean, the whole pedophilia thing and shit. I mean, look, there's a whole bunch of people that agree, hey, you just fucking, I can't understand that, but I'm just saying like we become very soft.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that I'm hard. I'm not saying that you're hard. I'm saying that these people were essentially way harder than us. You know what I mean?
100%.
Life-wise, you
100%.
know what I mean? Not saying that they fucking
Because here's the
kick
thing.
your ass.
Go to the grocery store.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If they didn't work, their fucking asses died.
Yeah. I mean, there was a very eye-opening. I seen, they were talking about, and we'll end on this, but we were talking about an EMF. EMF hit the United States. EMP, yeah. Within like the first, like look at the statistics. Within like the first 3 days, a lot of people are dead. A week, almost everybody is estimated to be dead due to the fact that, for one, food's gone. People are coming for your food. Not everybody's playing by the rules. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, and this is stuff that is essentially could happen. You know what I mean? I'm
For
not
sure.
saying that's going to happen, but it could happen. So why would you not want to at least know how to fucking do something? You know what I mean? Because there are people out there that are, like I said, they're predators. You know what I mean?
Well, they're taking what you got.
And I think a good percent of people are predators in their own way in certain situations around certain people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that kind
You know?
of like that herd mentality.
Yeah. I mean, they like even people that I know, they'd be like, oh, we need to go into Civil War and this and that. Look, I've never been to war. You know what I mean? I've listened to people talk about it. But I mean, there's a lot to that. There's a lot of violence that comes with that. And it ain't just us going against the government. And, there's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be coming after me, the way they just raid these fucking stores now. Fucking run into these stores and take everything.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain.